Yay Networks.
Hello guys, welcome back to Spill the Beans podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest, and I'm sure you guys already know her. She doesn't need an introduction, but this is Stacey.
Hi.
Yes. Hello. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh.
And I have to say, before we get started, I love it here because every time Jonathan says, you know, you guys are Spill the Beans. You guys are like our number ones. We love you guys. I'm always like, yes, we love you.
Like I am the number one.
Yes.
If anything, I feel like you are one of the friends that text me and always tell me something about the podcast.
Really?
And it makes me feel so special because I'm like,
glad.
For you to sit there and listen to us is crazy.
It's a pleasure, girl.
And we always talk about that. I'm like, someone that sits through a 40-minute podcast, like, thank you.
Oh my goodness. It's a pleasure. Honestly, sometimes. So, I don't know what, like I could comment, right? Mm-hmm. Everything that I text you, I do always comment. I try to, but I feel like with the podcast, it always gets so good here. You know, la plática se da muy bien. So I'm always like, oh my God, here are my bullet points. This is what I think of each bullet point.
Oh, I love that.
I'm glad you do.
Well, I'm glad you're here. You are one of the people that I love to talk to because I always feel reassured. And I always tell Stacey this. I'm not just saying it for the camera. In my everyday life, I'm like, what would Stacey do?
Oh my goodness.
Because that is how much I admire you and your advice. And
thank you.
Yeah, you're just inspirational. So I'm like, I'm so glad to have you back. And finally, like, we can sit down and have a deep talk.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a girl talk, a mom talk.
Oh my God.
You are a mom now? How does that feel?
Okay, so I have a 5-month-old and you met him. You saw him.
A beautiful 5-month-old.
I'm so biased, but he's so beautiful.
He's so beautiful.
And honestly, it's been beautiful, equal parts beautiful, challenging, and super rewarding.
Right.
I love it here. I love being a mom. It is the best thing that's ever happened to me. He is amazing. I have no bad things to say about him.
Honestly. And can I just say motherhood has been beautiful on you. Just like from an outsider looking in, we're like, wow, like Stacey was born for this.
Thank you. I never thought that was going to be my experience. Like I was born for this. And I don't feel like that, right? Like I feel like on social media, we tend to only show the happy moments because obviously I'm not going to put my baby crying on the internet. But if it has its challenging parts, but I feel like it's so rewarding that it outweighs the bad. Yeah. You know, it outweighs the bad for sure. So I'm very grateful that, you know, I got my baby and that, I don't know, I don't think I could take the credit like, oh yeah, it's super easy and like I'm having a blast all the time. But I feel like having the right people around me has made a big difference.
Exactly.
And having you guys that are already moms, and I'm always texting you like, oh, what did you do here? And how did you do this? And, you know, having moms that have already been through what I'm going through helps a lot.
Oh, and I love that. I love being able to help you and give you my advice, you know, whether you take it or not. I'm like, well, this is what I did, you know, and whatever works for you is best.
Yeah. I mean, Franco has turned out amazing. So I'm like, whatever you've done, I'm like, let me know.
And can we just say Franco loves SJ?
He's
obsessed with him. And it's so funny because Franco doesn't know his strength. So he I think he tries to be gentle, but he doesn't really know how to be. So it's just sweet seeing him interact with him, you know. And so SJ is such a happy baby. And we're literally like, he comes downstairs and I'm like, he is so happy and smiley, and that says a lot about how you guys treat him, you know, because he's just secure and a happy baby.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being a mom and entering your new era.
Yes, I love it here. I love my mom era.
Me too. I love seeing you in it and being able to watch you because I'm like, Stacey, you are my comfort YouTuber.
Really?
You know, every night my night routine is shower and then, you know, do my skincare, and I have your videos with my little suction cup. It's there on my mirror just watching you, and it's just, you bring very calming peace, all those vibes to us. So.
It's so funny because I feel the same about you.
That makes me
every
happy.
time you post a video, we're just here to compliment each other.
Honestly, I'm like, what else?
Yeah, I feel the same about you. Honestly, every time I put your videos, I know I'm gonna have an amazing time, and it's gonna be just great, and I love it.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, guys, as you can see, Stacey's one of the very important friendships that I have. I would say you've helped me a lot. There's been times when I've visited you by myself, like for Lulu's launch party, and you gave me so much advice in that little time we had at brunch. And so I just want everyone to know how much you mean to us, like you, Denny, and SJ.
Oh.
So thank you for being here. We are honored to have you on Spill the Beans.
Yay.
Especially because you're a watcher and you know what we talk about.
I know all the tea on Spill the Beans.
And more behind the camera.
And behind the scenes.
So today, as we said, we're going to do a little girl talk episode. We're going to talk about being mom. You know, you've been through almost everything so far. Like, you're a dog mom.
Oh, yeah.
You're an actual baby mom.
Yeah, I'm a baby mom.
You are married,
I am married.
So
there's a lot of tea to spill.
Yes, and your advice is going to help so many people. And we submitted, I put it on my Instagram, and look at this.
Oh my goodness. I'm
So
honored that anybody is even interested. Thank you.
We all love you, Stacey.
Thank you.
I think, do you want to just start with whatever comes up first?
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about.
Awesome.
There's going to be laughter and tears because siempre estoy a flor de piel, así, a punto de llorar, especially when I talk about motherhood.
Dude, same. Okay, perfect. So I think we're going to go ahead and start with this. Since becoming a mom, what is one of the biggest things that has changed?
Everything. I feel like there's a quote on Instagram that keeps popping up on my For You page, I guess now they call it, right?
Yeah.
That says, it's something along the lines of like, motherhood leaves no woman as it found her. It literally breaks you open and you're just exposed raw, literally. Yeah. And I remember the first time I saw that quote, I don't know who it's by, but the first time I saw it, that was describing everything I felt. Because before I was a mom, I really used to think I knew what I was talking about in every sense of the word. Like, I used to think it's so easy, I haven't figured it out. Even when I was pregnant and like when I was preparing to be a mom, I would think to myself, okay, I already watched How to Change a Diaper. I already watched My Nights with the Newborn. You know how moms do that? So I was like, I've watched all the videos. I know what to do. I know all the remedies. O sea, ¿qué más puede pasar? And I think being prepared to be a mom and actually being a mom, two different complete things. Because one of the things that I feel like I've struggled with the most with motherhood, or that I did struggle with the most in the beginning, was my need and want to be in control of everything. I am such a control freak, and I feel like motherhood doesn't leave room for that, because with motherhood, you have to learn to go with the flow. Like, the faster you learn to go with the flow and be flexible, and you learn how to pivot in all your decisions, the easier time you're going to have, right? And so in the beginning, it was really hard, because letting go of that side of you that wants to be in control and being open to the fact that things are very rarely going to go the way that you plan to when you're a mom, that I struggle with that a lot. But yeah, like, I feel like it's the most beautiful transformation I've ever been through, because I feel like it has also made me more curious and way less judgmental. Right. And I don't think I ever thought about other moms like, oh my God, what is she doing that for, or anything like that. But I'll give you an example. I remember one time when I still lived with my sister, we had a friend who was coming over, and she's like, hey, my high school best friend is in town and she has her baby. We haven't spent time. Can I bring her? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I remember her friend was with her baby, and she wouldn't talk a lot. Like, she wouldn't talk a lot, and she would just kind of be with herself, like paying attention, playing with her baby. Yeah. And I remember thinking like, like, I wonder why she's not interacting with us, you know? And now I know that it's that when you're a mom, all you think about is your baby.
Honestly.
Literally. Like, if your baby's present, nothing else matters. Right. You know? So yeah, like, it's just a beautiful transformation that has left me open to just be poured more like life and new information into, you know?
Yeah. And to piggyback a little bit on that, something that I kind of always refer to is when Franco literally came out of my body, it was like a light switched. Yeah. And it wasn't like I knew exactly what I had to do. It was just that anything I'm going to do is for this baby, you know? Girl. So how did you feel that as well? Like, because before I had Franco, I did feel like, what am I going to do? And when he came out, I was like, oh, you know, I got this, you know? Yeah. So did you kind of feel that way, or?
I feel like when SJ came out, I just felt this immense amount of love, right? Like most moms do. I just felt this immense amount of love. But I think my first couple of weeks postpartum, I would say, because I struggled with anxiety before I became a mom, and the postpartum hormones are insane, right? Like, you know, so I feel like the postpartum hormones kind of highlighted that. And so instead of like, yeah, I do feel like everything I'm going to do is for this baby, but I feel more, I will do anything for this baby. Right. And I don't have a limit. Literally, I will do anything for, and I mean anything.
Yeah.
And I will say it again. Like, I will do anything for this kid. And I would do things that I've never even thought were possible for me to do. And ese es el amor de madre, right?
I agree.
I feel like that love is equal parts beautiful and scary because, you know, moms are insane.
Yeah.
Like, we would do anything for a kid.
Right.
And that feeling is, it's overpowering. So when I first felt it, I remember I would lay with SJ in la mecedora when he was going to go to sleep or he was awake and stuff. And I would do skin to skin with him. And I have pictures of me just crying. Like the baby sleeping on my chest.
And
I'm just like crying. And Denny would be like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I just love him so much. Like, I don't know what to do with all this love, you know? And then he would be like, he loves you too. And then I'm just crying because I love him so much. And, you know, so I don't know that it was automatic. Like, I know what I'm doing, but every day and month has gotten better.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that it's not even just that you make it look easy, because on YouTube, you do talk a little bit about your hardships with it. But if anything, you make it relatable, you know? And I don't think, I know that there's mom influencers out there that kind of make it seem like they have everything in the bag, like their life is perfect because they have the routine going. And if anything, you don't say that it's hard in a sense, but you also don't say this is the easiest thing. So I love that you are very relatable too. Thank you.
I don't know, like, if I think about it, I don't really know how much of my mom journey I share because I don't talk about all the hardships, but I also don't talk about all the good things.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
So to kind of keep going in that sense, do you think that becoming a mom has made you a better friend to your mom friends?
Do I think becoming a mom has made me a better friend to my mom friends? I think I don't have a lot of mom friends. Like, obviously you're one of my mom friends, but I think now it has made me, it feels like a club with all the moms.
Yeah,
it does. So for example, like I could think like my cousins have babies, but they live far away. Like I don't have a lot of babies within my close circle, except my friend Marimar, who had a baby a little bit before me, like 3 months before me. So I think when I'm still in the thick of motherhood, where like I would love to do more things, but I still don't have a lot of time to get away from my baby and do things, you know? So I would want to be a better friend, you know, to my mom friends and be like, I'm going to go clean your house and I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go do that for you. But I'm looking forward to the next time that a friend of mine is pregnant, like you, you know, so that when I'm given the opportunity to make their life easier, like I can, you know, with my friend Marimar, because she's the closest I have that's pregnant, like, yeah, I would do anything and everything for her. And anytime, she's like my little mom friend that if either of us are feeling like in a funk, you know, because the first year postpartum, it's some days are amazing and some days are not. We text each other, so we kind of have like a little buddy system.
I love that.
So it's like, I'm feeling this and that, 100% normal, you're normal, I'm gonna come over, let's go have coffee or whatever. And then it turns the other way around. I think instead of making me a better mom friend, because I don't like to be like, I'm a great mom friend, you know, I think it's made me more compassionate of moms, period. Like now, any mom, I'm like, you are a queen and you're doing an amazing job and you deserve everything. So that's what's made me. It's made me more compassionate of moms and more in awe at how amazing they are. I didn't know how amazing you guys were.
How we are.
Yes, I guess now I am included.
Yes, you are.
But like now I'm in shock at everything moms do, and literally like it's like they're working in silence.
Yes,
and
exactly.
They go so unnoticed, everything they do.
Yeah, and I do feel like I love to bring your flowers, because you are like, what you post on social media is who you are behind the scenes. And I do want to say that
thank
you were around us when we had babies and you weren't pregnant yet. And although you didn't know what it was like to be a mom, I think you still checked in. And if you were like with Lulu and me and we were somewhere where Catalina was there, Franco was there, you were still, what can I do? You wouldn't be like, oh, do you want me to hold him? No, you were just like, what can I do?
Yeah, I
to
didn't
help
know.
you know, so even though you didn't know exactly how to help, you still offered. Which I think that it's a lot of things that other people lack too, because you just don't know. You know?
I mean, before you're a mom, I would see you guys juggling everything.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I think the best thing for me to do is just like maybe not get in their way. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know what to do. Like now I know, okay, Franco's having a hard time, and sure, let's pretend, right? Franco's having a hard time and Blanca's just overwhelmed and I could see it.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I would know what to do now because he's a toddler. But I'd be like, I'm just going to clean the kitchen because I'm sure this is going to help at some point, you know? Like keeping yourself busy.
Exactly.
So I feel like I'm learning. And one of the best ways that I feel like I can be very helpful to moms and just friends overall is I'm big on words of affirmation.
Right.
So I'm always like, you're doing freaking amazing. I might not know what I could do for you, but yay, I'm cheering for you.
Yeah.
You know?
And I love that about you. I think that you are very reassuring. And if someone doesn't tell any moms out there, like, you're being a great mom, you are one of them, you know? So
thank you.
Thank you for that. I think that a lot of people that follow you feel the same.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm like, I love you guys.
So what advice do you have for moms that want to raise a well-behaved boy?
Oh my God. See, this is what I mean when I say that I feel like I've changed since I became a mom. And before, I feel like I had a lot of opinions on situations that I could imagine. But now I'm like, girls, he's 5 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I am afraid as well. I could be afraid with you guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, let's all get together and figure it out.
Be afraid together.
Yeah, because I don't know how to raise a good man. What I could imagine it would be like, and, you know, we could talk to women who have raised great men. Now, I would like to think, you know, there are women out there who've done it, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm doing with my kid, regardless if he was a boy or a girl, and when I have a girl in the future, or, you know, whatever it comes out to be, my goal is to always love kids. 100%, regardless of boy, girl, or whatever they are. I pour love into my children. And that is my life mission with SJ. You know, like, I am always like, oh my God, eres bello, mi amor, estás bien guapo, te amo, eres feliz, todos te aman. You know, like, I'm just trying to give him all the love and all the hugs and all the kisses and meet all his needs, because I know that regardless of men or women, people who have their needs met tend to become successful, loving, confident adults, you know? And so, like, for example, am I going to make sure that he's opening doors for me and carrying groceries for me and his grandma? Yeah. Like, I'm going to do those things. But I don't know that I have a straight answer. Like, you're going to raise a gentleman if this or that.
Yes.
You know, porque I was talking to your mom earlier and we were saying que cae más rápido un hablador que un cojo. And basically what that means is like, how would you say that in English?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
like you're asking the wrong person.
I'm like, basically, like, don't talk if you don't know, right?
Yes.
Because life will humble you.
I agree.
That's what I would say. Life will humble you. So I don't know. I don't have the answers on how to raise a good man yet, but I will try my best.
I'll have you back on the podcast when SJ is 18.
Yeah. Cuando ya esté casado y tenga hijos.
Cuando ya esté casado con hijos.
Yeah.
And I think it is hard. Because I feel like a lot of people, even if it's not your intention, you do say things like, oh, I would never do that, you know?
And I have never before.
Exactly. And after becoming a mom, I'm like, I need to shut up, girl. Yeah. Because life humbled me fast. Because I was like, I don't want to have a kid till I'm 30. I'm already pregnant with my second one, you know? So it's like, you just got to go with the flow, girl, at this point.
Yes. Do you feel like you have a good handle on how to raise a good man?
Do I think about it?
Or like, do you feel like Franco is coming out to be a good man so far?
I want to think that he is. I'm trying.
Yeah.
And right now there's not much you can do. Right now it's just love him or love into him. But I do always talk about knowing that I have a good man. And that obviously Jonathan is not perfect by any means. You guys have heard all the stories, but knowing that I like how he turned out and I like how he's still willing to, change here and there and even compromise, or knowing that he knows that mental health is really important and that there's therapy, whether you don't need it or you don't feel like you've gone through a traumatic situation. And aside from that, just being able to hang out with his family and seeing the men that his mom is raising. Like, I love how she's raising her kids. Nice. And just trusting that, because I think that growing up, I grew up with an older brother, and I think that we always say our parents tried their best, but I always say that my dad was a provider and not very much a dad. So because I lacked a lot of that sense, I think it was even harder for my brother because he knew no better. So knowing that, one, Jonathan is a good man because his dad is a very good man too. I think that coming together, I can raise a very loved child and just pour my love into him, and then let Jonathan take on the stronger aspects of being a man. Like the playing with animals and stuff, for me, I was like, girl, don't get in there, don't step on the poop, and I had to turn back and let Jonathan, like, the animals were literally like licking Franco's hands, and me in the past, I'd be like, oh my god, I need hand sanitizer, like I need to wash them right away, but I was like, okay, just chill out, and now he loves animals and he's not scared of them, That's so nice. I think that I do think about it, I do worry about it, but I think I just go with the flow too, because
and I think that so I read somewhere, or I don't know if it was a TikTok girl, but basically it said the biggest privilege you could have now in this time, it's not like money, it's not, where you're growing up, it's having a 2-parent household, because when you have 2 loving parents, it's kind of like a dance, and both, like you just said, right, like you're pouring love into him, and Jonathan is being like the more stern parent,
exactly,
right? And so Franco's gonna grow up respecting you and him, So there's been instances, for example, where I do rely on Denny a lot for his side of the parenting, because SJ does have 2 parents, y con el favor de Dios siempre los va a tener. Sí. Pero where do we see, I don't know if we saw somewhere where like a kid is talking back to like his mom, and like, like you see Dr. Phil or something, right? Yeah. And so I remember one time Denny said, hell no, I would never let my son speak to his mom like that. You go. So I feel like if you do have the privilege of having a good spouse that's an active parent, you kind of you get to relax a little bit. As a mom, you never stop worrying, right? But you get to be like, okay, at least I'm not doing it alone, and I have someone that's also going to be there to give me strength through the hardships that come with being a parent.
Exactly. I also think that Jonathan grew up going to Mexico a lot, and he had an uncle over there. And in Mexico, most men are raised machista, and they have all these beliefs. So I think that what really reassures me with Jonathan is knowing that he himself knows that a lot of those traits aren't great, and just knowing that Franco has someone to look up to, and if Jonathan treats me good, then I expect Franco to treat me good, so it's like, as he grows up, not arguing in front of him, not just little things like that. But right now I'm like, okay, just focus on him being one, like, because it's hard. The times are gonna come, and you're just gonna react how you are in that situation. Like, I can't speak for my future self, but same. I do think a lot about it. And it does scare me because, I see all these men, even like on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, how do they think like that? Like, what is their mom thinking right now if they're seeing this, Yeah. Okay, I'm going to just get this one out of the pile here because it's been asked a lot and it's too soon. And that they always ask this, but do you still want a second child?
Yes, 100% yes. I would love, I don't think I've touched up, I haven't talked about it online, but I love it here. Like when you guys were talking about it in the podcast and you said like, why wouldn't I want a big family? I feel the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, I haven't really talked about it online, but I feel like being a mom, I don't know, it just has shown me like how much I love him. Can you imagine 4 of him?
No.
If it wasn't because I have to be pregnant each time.
Same, honestly.
Yeah, like I wish you could just go pick him up and be like, I would like 4, please.
Seriously, 4 of the same.
Yeah, like I don't know, just being pregnant was not the vibes.
I agree.
You're going through it right now, so me. But he's amazing, and I feel also like I'm getting bamboozled because he's a very chill baby.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, are they all gonna come out like this? And if not, I guess if the next one comes out harder and we're like, okay, that was it, like it was too hard, then we'll stop. But yeah, for sure, at least 2.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's how most people are, because I mean, I went from not wanting any to wanting 4 all of a sudden, you know. So I love that we can talk about it on social media, because if I wasn't on social media and I grew up with a lot of friends who unfortunately became single moms, and every time I would talk to them, they'd be like, "Girl, take your birth control, like do this, do that," and it's because it has a lot to do with not having a supportive partner.
100%.
And so I was like, if I was never on social media and if I never knew what it was to have a baby, maybe I would have just stuck to never having kids, you know, because I didn't have anyone around me that gave me the vibes that was like, no, this is good, this is okay. And if I never followed other moms too that talk about, yes, it's hard, but it's also beautiful and it's worth it, then it would, you know, I would still not want kids. And now that I follow all these amazing moms that have a lot of kids and I see them struggle but they're happy, I'm like, why wouldn't I want to come home to 4 kids? You know, like that's amazing. So I'm glad that we can be a voice to them that are probably scared to become moms too.
I mean, for sure, I think if the circumstances continue as they are, yes, I would love more kids. But of course, life happens, right? And so when there are women that are like, I'm one and done, girl. Like, this was hard as, you know? I get it. I get it too. So that's why it's like, for me, my personal family right now, we'll take it 1 kid at a time, you know? With 1 down, yes, we will take another. If by 2 down, we're like, this is too much, then we'll stop there. Because literally, there have been so many times where I see SJ and I just thank God, because I feel so fulfilled. Like, I'm like, I need nothing more in life. Si por alguna razón Dios guarde, I couldn't have any more kids, I have it all already. You know, so anything more than this, it's just a plus.
It just adds on. So now that you're a mom for 5 months and you've gone through the struggles, you've seen how beautiful it is there one thing that has stuck out the most to you, that like when you do get pregnant with your second baby and they come, you know exactly what you're gonna do, whether it be, you know, colic, whether it be they're so fuzzy, you don't know, or even if you had to struggle with like breastfeeding again, what would you do? Because I know that a lot of people talk about how every pregnancy is different, every postpartum experience is different. So I always think about it myself. I'm like, okay, I know how easy, quote unquote, it is to breastfeed and how convenient it is. But I'm like, what would I do if I couldn't breastfeed my second one?
Cancelado.
You know? So do you ever think about that, or?
So I definitely, when I was in the thick of postpartum, like the first, it got easier after 3 months, right? So I'm talking about like the first month postpartum. I remember I would tell SJ, like, I'm sorry, I'm a first time mom, I don't know any better. Like, I would tell him, it's your first time here, it's my first time being a mom, you know? So I think being a first time mom is like being a rookie at everything.
I agree.
So I am definitely looking forward to being a second time mom. Porque ahora sí ya no van a agarrar para abajo. Like, I'm like, ya se las voy a agarrar cuando vienen, you know? So I feel like the second time I pray and hope that I don't worry as much in the beginning, you know? Like, I feel that in the beginning I was so stressed out because I didn't want anything to happen to him, and that's why I said, like, I feel like it was a little bit of postpartum anxiety. Like, I've never been diagnosed, and I do have a therapist, and she tells me it's normal, but I hope that my second time around I'm a little bit more relaxed so that I can enjoy it more. And I feel like the first week postpartum kicks everyone's butt.
I agree.
Like, no matter how calm, zen, and like beautiful you are and how much help you have, you're gonna get your butt kicked. So you just know that. Right? I pray and hope that my second delivery is just as amazing, you know, and I pray and hope that my second baby latches just as easily. But even though I've been a mama first time, I don't know that I would say I got this. You know, because cada bebé es diferente.
Exactly.
Like, just like you said, cada bebé es diferente, cada embarazo es diferente. I know for sure I'm going to have my gripe water for the colic.
There you go.
And then I'm going to have the newborn bottles and the formula just in case. And maybe this time around I will have like I won't be as stressed out when visitors come visit him as when he's as like little, you know, or when my next baby's little.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I love that. And with that, I know that we touched a little bit about having a good partner. I think I want to kind of dive in to that, because even last night we were talking about it and saying how the first year of having a baby tests your marriage. And thankfully you told me that, I mean, you guys are amazing right now, you know, and it brought you closer. Yeah. So I'd love if you kind of opened up about it, if there was anything that changed and how you guys kind of got through it, or what you even do right now when things get tough, like the baby's fussy and then you're kind of fussy and then he's kind of fussy, you know, like how, like what do you do? How do you cope? So again, him and I are not perfect, right? We're not the perfect couple. We're literally no one for people to look up to us and be like, oh my God, you guys, I want to be like that. No, right? So prefacing with that, I will say, as an anxious person, I was like, because I read the statistics that the first year of marriage is when most divorces happen, I was already like, it's going to be a war zone. It's going to be like things being thrown around, and we've never been like that, but I just was expecting the worst. And I even read a book that's called like How Not to Hate Your Husband After Baby's Born, because and I remember the book said like, just know you have different hormones and your body's attuned to the baby, and you know, like he doesn't hear it the same. And so I was already like, okay, I'm just gonna prepare to this, like el bebé es de la mamá. I would tell myself that the baby belongs to the mom, and the mom's the one that's going to get her butt kicked, and you're going to have to struggle like with everything. I was almost preparing myself to do everything just to not be like let down if Denny didn't rise up to help, quote unquote help, right? Because it's his kid as well. And I don't know if because my expectations were so low, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Now I do have to give Denny his flowers, my husband, because he is an amazing dad, and I can't take that away from him. Like regardless, like I love him as my husband. As SJ's dad, I am shook. I was not expecting it. I was not expecting it, you know? And I don't know, like he's just a very loving man. He was always very loving with me. So obviously he loves his son more than me probably, you know, and I'm okay with that. So for example, when the baby was just fussy and I was just very tired, Denny takes him, you know, like Denny takes him. We're both home, you know, gracias a Dios, so that's a huge privilege. So Denny will take him, and Denny's very patient, right? So he will take him, and even though he doesn't have boobs, you know, he'll take him and he's just like with him, like shh, shh, like he'll be there for hours soothing the baby. And I remember there were times when I would have hard times emotionally, and I would give him the baby. So Danny and I always had this thing since before he was born, where it was like, if you can't handle, like if you're fed up, you know, if you can't do it anymore, come and tell me, regardless of what I'm doing, of how tired I am, I'm gonna step up. Right? So there's been times where both of us, like, we're just so tired. Let's say the baby's like not sleeping, he's crying or whatever, we'll go up to each other. Let's say I have the baby and you're Denny, and I'm like, can you help me? And like that phrase, can you help me, is everything is put down. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're taking the baby. So that has helped a lot, right? And so there was a time I remember, like I had the baby, and I think the first months breastfeeding is 24 hours, girl. I was over it, and I was just tired, and I felt like crap because I was like, I'm such a bad mom for not wanting to breastfeed him longer. Like he just wants to be with me. Why am I so? You know, you just start to talk bad about yourself in your own head. So I was like, I need to tap in for help. So I went to the living room and I gave him the baby, and I was like, I need help. Didn't ask any questions, took the baby. I went and I lied down, literally put the blanket over my head, and I was just crying because I was like, if he's taking care of the baby, I'm going to take care of myself. It's fine. Denny literally with the baby in his arms came in, took the blanket off of me, pulled me by the feet, pulled me by the hands, made me get up, hugged me. He's like, you're a great mom. You're doing amazing. And we thank you so much for everything you do for us. And I was like, oh my God. Más. Yeah, like it makes me cry because I didn't know I knew he was loving, but I didn't know he would know what to do. You know, I didn't know he would know what to do, because there are times where you really just feel like crap about normal things, you know?
And those hugs and those words of affirmation where he was like, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And it's not only the only time he's done it. Like I could see when he sees me overwhelmed, doing too much, or like just sad, he tells me, he's like, you're doing great. You're amazing. Or if I'm like, I just love him so much, he'll say, he loves you too. He's like, thank you for everything you do, you know? So I think your partner could really like make or break you. And I think his personality helps a lot because he's very patient.
Yeah.
There have been times where like, of course, hormonally, you throw a couple punches below the belt and he's taking it. Yeah. You know, if I'm just overstimulated and I just le tiro una él where he's like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
But he was like, all right, she's going through it. That's fine. I'm going to let this one pass, you know? But yeah, like I do feel like, of course, it's had its rough patches.
Yeah.
Like we're not having as much one-on-one time, obviously.
Which is normal.
Thankfully. Yeah. Dates, what are those?
Literally.
Which is normal,
no
you know? Yeah, but we are both dedicated to being in our parenting season.
Yeah.
You know, so I really do pray and hope that every man could understand that.
Yeah.
Like she needs you so much. Like the baby needs you a lot, but she needs you a lot too. And she needs you to just give her a hug and tell her you're an amazing mom and everything you do doesn't go unnoticed and we're so lucky to have you. You know, I'm sure so many moms would love to hear that.
Exactly.
From their husband.
It's like they don't need much. Like just a simple word of affirmation is going to fuel them.
Yeah, for sure. So are your demographics mainly men or women on this podcast? Women. Girls, I really wish, put your husband on the line.
And a lot of them do say that they watch it with their husband.
Oh, okay. So if you're a husband watching this, please give her a hug and tell her how amazing she's doing because it's not the same coming from us as it is coming from the husband.
Exactly. So coming from that, putting you in a situation where you did have a partner that didn't step up, that didn't become a dad, that kind of just let you do your own thing.
That's so hard.
What would you advise to someone that's probably feeling that right now?
If you have a partner who's treating it like this is your job and like you should be grateful that I'm providing financially and that you get to be in a house where everything is falling apart and you're falling apart and the baby's crying all the time. I just firstly want to say that I'm so sorry that that's your situation. Like, I'm so sorry that that's your situation. And number two, I would say you probably are with this partner because you love him, obviously, and you don't want to leave him. But you deserve better. And I know you probably want to stay with him because he's the father of your children and stuff. So there's no judgment for anyone that wants to stay with their partner. But I wish every woman had a good supportive partner. Yeah. Like, what do you tell someone who doesn't?
I think that it's hard.
It's super hard. Like, all I could do, because I have friends or people in my close circle who are in that situation, whose spouse doesn't step up for them and doesn't tell them how grateful they are and everything. And I just try to be a good friend to them.
Yeah.
I just try to be a good friend to them and fill them in those spaces of like, you are a great mom.
Yeah.
As of mom, I'm telling you, you're a great mom.
Yeah.
And you're amazing and it's freaking hard. And I just acknowledge their feelings because it's hard.
It is.
Being a mom with a spouse that's there and a mom that's helping and everything is hard. I can't imagine the other way. So I just try to be a good friend to those friends who have their husband out working, you know, or whose husbands just make it seem like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I would say that I wish it wasn't their situation.
Yeah, exactly.
I really do because uno como mujer, I feel like your kids hurt you more.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So if you have their dad who's just coming home from work, being on his phone, and then just going on the toilet for 3 hours, and then the kids are already in bed and he doesn't even interact with them, I can see that being painful, not just for you as a wife, but as like they need you as their dad, you know?
Exactly.
So I would just say that I wish it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that I have an answer that's like, leave him. No, you probably don't. You probably don't want to leave him because he's the father of your kids and you love him. And if it was that easy as like, leave him, they would all have left already. Exactly. You know, but I don't know. This parenting thing is really hard.
It is. And what would your take be on that? On the thought that just because they work and provide gives them that freebie of not having to come home and interact with the kids. Like they come home and they're tired. They're like, well, I already worked all day.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, it's your child. What's your take on that?
I think, you know, what's funny because we're assuming that people listening are stay-at-home moms who get financially provided for. Yeah. The majority of the times I live in California, so that's not the case. In California, most of the times you need a 2-parent household where the mom and the dad both work 8 hours. They both come home at the same time, and guess who's taking care of the kids?
The mom.
The mom. No, like don't get me started, girl, because you're like, yeah, start.
No, please start.
Yeah, because it is unfair. Like, I wish I could talk to those men, because I'm like, more than the anger that you're making her go through, you don't know what you're doing to your children. Because even there, you just said it earlier, right? Your dad was there physically and he was a provider, but look at the type of children he raised. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because you turned out amazing.
Thank you.
But like how you said, you had to struggle to find a good footing, right? Like you had to struggle to be like, okay, my dad was lacking, so I'm gonna have to make up for that.
Exactly.
In my partnership, or, you know, and like you said, with your brother, you know, a lot of times those dads don't think about the fact that just being present is not enough.
Exactly.
Just providing a paycheck is not enough. And the women who provide an equal paycheck, boy, what are you doing? ¿Con qué cara te estás sentando a rascarte los?
I know.
You know what I mean? When like, if she's bringing equal parts paycheck and she's doing everything, like where is the, like the accountability?
Yeah.
You know, ¿con qué cara te sientas ahí a hacer nada? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't. Like, it is shocking to me.
It is.
You know, like I've seen families in my close circle where both parents work, and it's so beautiful because it's so beautiful to see a present dad. You know, I have una de mis cuñadas, I love her relationship with her husband because he is so present as a dad. And I feel like Denny had that example from his dad and from de sus cuñados también, because like I love when we're there at my suegra's house, he is on the kids. Like he's very much like, hey, no andes haciendo esto, hey, vente para acá, hey, like he's on them, you know. If they're having a hard time, a meltdown or whatever, he's going and he's like, what's going on? You know, like, can I help you? Like, let's go take a walk. Like, he's just a very present dad, and he works full time. He owns a business, you know, and I feel like that's beautiful. Like, working full time is not an excuse to not be a good parent.
Exactly.
Period. Like, it is not an excuse to not be a good parent. You don't get a freebie. And it must be so heartbreaking for the moms who realize that too late, you know, because having kids with someone's a gamble, girl.
It is.
Even we gambled, right? Like, we didn't know how they were going to be as parents.
And that's why I always talk about it. Like, when you are dating someone and you see marriage, don't just see like he's gonna be a great husband. Like, you have to see, is he gonna be a great dad? Because I think that makes you or breaks you. Like, whether he's a great husband or not, and you don't see him interact with the kids, and he doesn't want to help you change the diaper, or he doesn't want to do something, I feel like that's even a turn off. You know, because I'm like, you're not helping me, or you're not making my life easier. And I think that growing up, for me, I didn't have an example of a good marriage, and that's why I always, like, I don't blame my dad for this, but I'm like, that's why I was in a toxic relationship for so long. You know, that's why I let Jonathan do half of the things that he did, because I thought just with him saying I love you, I was like, he loves me. I have to. I have to forgive him. I have to do this, you know? And I was so easily manipulated just because he could say I love you. And that's all I ever wanted. You know, someone to love me and to say it, because I'm sure my dad loves me, but he never said it, you know? So I think that when Jonathan would talk to me about it, and this is so funny because when my mom found out I was on birth control, we were 16 and she was extremely disappointed in me. And I remember her like telling me, how could you do this to me? Like, this is so disappointing. And my brother walked in the room because he heard her screaming at me, whispering, you know, like where she's trying to not let anybody know, but she's like screaming at me. And he was like, well, would you have rather found out that she was pregnant or that she's protecting herself, you know? And so when I think about it now, I'm like, okay, say that I was being a little bit unsafe and irresponsible, and Jonathan and I had a kid at 16. I'm like, first of all, we wouldn't be together. I'm like, second of all, it would have been very traumatic, you know, because at that time we were in the toxic relationship. So thinking about it now, when we got back together and he told me, oh, we went through therapy. I went through therapy and I love you and I'm willing to change and compromise and do this and that. And me sacó la luna y las estrellas, right? I told him, I was like, okay, that's fine. But I still needed to see, is this just beneficial for me or is it going to benefit me in the long run where he's going to be a good dad?
Wow.
And it was hard because you never know. I didn't even know what kind of mom I was going to be. I didn't know if I wanted to be a mom. And I remember knowing that I didn't know if I wanted to be a mom was a deal breaker for him. And he told me, if you can assure me kids at 30, perfect. If you can't, I need to go. Like, this is a waste of my time. And at that point, I was like, okay, you are asking so much from me. So like, how can you reassure me that you're going to be a good dad? Yeah. And I guess just seeing him with his brothers and you know, being a good brother or loving kids and doing this, it was good to see. But even then, like, nothing prepares you for it. And postpartum was rough for both of us because he always expressed to me, I felt helpless. I didn't know what to do. And if anything, he just picked up everything else. Like, I was being a mom and he was buying the groceries. He was making sure the dogs were fed. He was, you know, doing everything to make my life easier outside of being a mom.
And that's beautiful.
And I'm like, slowly but surely, like, he knows. You know, now he knows what he needs to do. And now even seeing him with Franco, like, of course he's not the perfect dad, but he's willing. And he's always told me, like, if you don't like something I'm doing, just tell me.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, just him being open to that, that guarantees, okay, he's good. But if he wasn't, then I'd be like, well, what the hell did I do? You know?
I feel like if it was as easy as find a good partner and you're guaranteed a good dad, we would all be with the good dads, right? But I'm sure there's women listening that are like, girl, I thought he was a great dad or a great partner, and then llegó el plebe y ya, valió madre, you know? So I think set yourself up as close as you can. If he loves you, if he respects you, if he's doing things for you, if he's sacrificing things for you, if he's compromising things for you, chances are he will do the same for your children. Because like you said, right, Jonathan didn't know how to help you postpartum, but he was willing to be like, okay, what could I do? So doing everything else is huge help. Huge help. Even if you never touched the baby, the fact that you came downstairs to a clean kitchen, I'm sure felt great. Right? So when you have children, you have to continue to make sacrifices for each other, and even bigger ones, I would say. So if your partner's not making sacrifices for you in the boyfriend, girlfriend, single, or, you know, no baby stage, they're not going to start making sacrifices for you when the kid is here. Like, having kids doesn't change who you are. It just reveals who you already were. So if you have a partner and they're like cursing at you, yelling at you, throwing things at you, you know, disrespecting you, not keeping up with their word, chances are it's only going to get worse once the babies are here.
And do you think that the statement your partner comes before your kids is true?
Oh man, I've gotten that question so many times since I become a mom, because I feel like in the past I've shared that, yes, right, at the end of your life, your husband hopefully is the one that's there with you, and you grow a life with them and stuff. And then even I believe even the Bible says that your husband comes before your children, and that's hard. But now that I'm a mom, me trago todas mis palabras. I was kidding. No, now that I'm a mom, I would say it depends on the situation. It's situational, right? Because for example, right now that SJ is a baby, if he's crying and Danny's like, I'm hungry, I'm going to be like, figure it out. I'm going to go tend to my child, right? This is our child. Don't you want my baby to be fine? Right? But if my son is 19 years old and he steals, cancelar el nombre de Jesús, but he steals his dad's truck, you're not pulling that on me. I'm standing by your dad. I'm not defending you. You know, if my son is 20 years old, has a girlfriend, and then he brings another girl to the house, I'm not allowing that. You get what I'm saying? So it's situational. When they're babies, kids, toddlers, I'm going to make sure my kid is taken care of, and then I'll take care of you. Like, I'm not the type of mom that's like, I need to serve my husband before I serve my kids. I'm sorry, husband. Like, this is our child, you know? So I think as they get older and kids can handle more responsibility, more hardship, more everything, then you kind of start standing next to your husband a little bit more. But it depends on the situation. When they're babies, no, my kids come first. I'm sorry if you're having a hard time or whatever. But when they're bigger, then you raise the kids, and it's time to pour back into your relationship.
Exactly.
And hopefully your relationship withstands the hardship that comes with being a parent, because no relationship is left untouched.
I agree. And
that's the raw truth. Yeah.
Now with saying that, this is kind of a silly question, but I have seen it on TikTok a lot. And it's people asking moms if you would kill for your child.
I'm gonna get canceled. No. Who am I killing? I was just kidding.
No, seriously, that was my first reaction too. I was like, well, what's the situation? Tell me.
Yeah.
And then already I was like, oh my God, am I a psychopath?
Well, I feel like most moms would say yes.
Yeah.
Like, comment down below, because I feel like who's saying
seriously.
No? Right? Girl, I'm getting my fight or flight mode right now. I'm like, who's coming in? Fighting. It's funny. Like, ever since I became a mom, I literally have protection under my bed. Like, I have.
Period.
Yeah. Like, I just have, like, literally. I'm not gonna say anything other than that.
Exactly.
But I was like, there's no need for me to risk myself. Like, I'm not. It's me or it's my child or someone else, and
someone else. Yeah. And it's funny because I see a lot of things of like, when TikToks come up of something that happens at daycare, and all the comments that I'm fighting, I'm killing someone, I'm beating them up, and I'm like, wait, that's so true. Like, I don't even think that it'd be waiting for the police to get there. And I know it's like silly of me to think about, because I haven't been put in that situation, but I'm like, wow.
Cancelado.
So when people get asked out on TikTok, I'm like always in the comments like, well, what are they saying? Because do I think the same or not?
And what's the main, what are most, right? Like, who's not?
There's some that are like, well, no, is it going to get me in trouble?
It's situational.
Yes.
Oh my God. So 2 scenarios. Okay. I remember this was on TikTok. I once saw a TikTok of a court case, and this happened a long time ago, but it was a court case where it was, I don't know if it was the dad or the stepdad of the children, but he ended up like SAing them. And it was one child maybe SAing them, and then like brutally beating them to,
Oh my God.
And it shows, how sometimes they film the courtrooms, and sometimes the victim's family comes up to give a word statement. Basically, it said that, I'm sure people can look up the case, but the mom came up to say the words to the person, and she just brought out a gun. Y lo mató.
No way.
Yeah, and literally in front of the judge. And I think she got like a super light penalty.
Okay, period.
Yeah, because the judge was like, see no evil, hear no evil. You know what I mean? Yeah, but in the comments, everybody was like, hell yeah. And I'll do it again.
Literally.
And I'll do it again,
Absolutely.
On the other hand, I remember this other TikTok I watched one time of this lady who, she says that she walked in, so sad. She walked in on her dad saying her baby girl, and she's like, I wanted to kill him, and the only reason why I didn't is because I knew that if I went to jail, like, who was gonna stay with her? So it's situational, right? If my cancelado en el nombre de Jesús, but I don't even like to think about it because I get sad. Yeah, that's hard.
Insane. I don't know. I think that it's crazy when you become a mom, because before I became a mom, it was like easy answers, yes, no, whatever.
Yeah.
And now I'm like,
you have to think about everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's hard because it's like our babies are everything, and we want nothing to happen to them. So I'm like, I am fighting whoever.
Yeah, I'll fight for sure.
You know what I think about a lot is, what am I going to do if my kid comes up to me and says someone is bullying me at school? Because the first thing I want to do is fight the kid. I'm like, why are you bullying my son, right? But it's like, what do you do in that sense? Because kids are kids, and if their parents don't want to like discipline them, or if they have a bad life at home, they don't care about them, like, what do you do? So
okay, SJ has a lot of cousins, and I don't know that this is the right answer, or whatever it is, what it is, but SJ has a lot of cousins, and Denny has 5 sisters. So I remember he has a cousin that's 6 months older than him. My cuñada was pregnant, and I remember I told her when I was pregnant, I was like, cousins fight, because I grew up with a lot of cousins. I was like, cousins fight. You guys are all sisters. Obviously, I'm not going to fight with you guys because I'm not a sister. Like, I'm a sister-in-law. And it's different. They love each other more than they love me, and that's fine, right? And I remember I told her, I was like, I'm going to put SJ in martial arts or boxing.
Literally.
I am. And I told her, and she's like, oh, take his cousin with him. She's like, I was like, I'll take them both. I was like, but my kids at least got to know how to fight.
Seriously.
I can't fight for you. You know? So I think that's like one of those hardships where it's like, you have to raise a confident kid.
Yeah. And just control what you can at home.
Yeah.
Basically.
Control what you can at home. And, you know, it was funny though, because my cuñada laughed and she was like, yeah, like I get it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like I'm not gonna fight with my cuñadas.
Yeah,
you know, all I could do is
absolutely.
remove your kid. But at school it's different. But that's my solution. He's going into boxing or martial arts.
He's gonna know how
little.
to defend himself. Period. As he should. But I think that was one of my main concerns, and like that's why, to the point where I told you yesterday that I'm thinking about homeschooling him, because I'm like, I just want him to be confident and loved and happy. I don't want him to go into school and, you know, be bullied. But who knows? Okay, I have this question that you haven't talked about maybe a lot on social media, and it is why you don't show SJ's face.
Yeah, that's like one of my top questions too. So when I was pregnant, before I was pregnant, I never knew if I would want to show my baby or my kids. And then when I got pregnant, I think it just got more and more reassured. Right. And it wasn't like, at first it started with, I'm going to show him. He's just not going to be the focus of my content. Yeah. Right. And I remember when he was born, like we did a cute little video at the hospital and you could see his face at the end. And I was like, oh, he's so cute and little and beautiful. And then I didn't keep uploading, showing him, like, you know, I didn't show his face. I wouldn't post like everyday pictures, and then I wouldn't post videos. Like I would just film him on my phone and keep him there. And the more and more time passed, the better it felt, right? Where it was like, this feels like the right choice. Yeah. When I look back now, and it's been 5 months, right? And I think to myself, do I regret the fact that I didn't show my baby as a newborn, or like his milestones, or like his videos laughing or anything like that? And so far I haven't regretted it. So it has felt great to not show him, because I feel like I'm giving him a sense of privacy, and I'm giving him the choice to choose how he wants to show himself as a person, when and if he's ever ready. Now, that's like my super logical side. And I know obviously you have Franco, you show Franco. And I never talked about it because I didn't want people to think that I thought I was above moms who show their babies, because I think it's a personal choice.
Absolutely.
Every mom gets to choose how and which way she shows her kid. So when, you know, TikTok makes you go down rabbit holes. And then there's this mom called... oh my God, I forgot her Instagram, or her TikTok, but her whole life mission is to like get moms to not show their babies. And so she would show statistics, and the statistic that scared me and made me just be like, okay, this is the best choice, was that the majority of kid porn, or like the majority of pictures on those websites for, you know, sick people like that, comes from moms who just show their baby organically. Because what is a normal picture or video for you and I, literally sick people turn it into something that it's not.
Exactly.
So I took an all or nothing approach, where I was like, well, I'm not gonna take any risk. I'd rather not take any risk than be at night thinking like, is this something that could be taken in a negative way? You know? And so I've shown him, like, he comes, like, there's no pictures of him without me. All the pictures are family pictures, and it's always like far away, you know, where it's kind of like an organic moment. Like we went to a pumpkin patch and I posted our family picture. But I know people probably, because people have told me like, we want to see him, you know, but the majority of the people are super respectful. Like my supporters are amazing, and they're all like, as you should, queen. Like we get it. Like we're sure he's so cute, but we get it, you know? And the last point where I was like, okay, my content, I chose to be on social media. And if people choose to not watch me because I'm not showing my kid, good riddance. That is honest. Like I am not going to show my kid in exchange for money, or because I'm going to get more views, or because I'm going to get more brand deals. Like that's not a sacrifice I was willing to make, you know? So those were my main reasons. If in the future he's going to grow, he's going to be running around talking. If in the, I don't know what age he could consent, really. Right. Like consent with information where he's like, I know what I'm doing. You know? So I don't know. Is that something that you've thought about?
Not really. I think what I have thought about is as he grows, I don't want to show him as much. I do remember though, since Franco was born, no one on social media has heard him cry. Right. Because nice. I don't want anybody to hear my son cry. Yeah. I don't record his tantrums. I'm not going to record like, oh, look, he's crying because he wants this. And this is how I'm going to correct him. I'm like, no. So Franco's he's a very happy baby. So when he cries, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Yeah. So he had never been on social media crying. And I remember we were at an event and when everybody gets together, there's cameras everywhere. Now a lot of people are aware of what they're editing, what they're keeping in. And there's boundaries within the friend group, of course, but it's just brand new things when the baby's so little, like you don't really know. Yeah. And I remember in one video, because obviously I watch all my friends' videos that came out, and I looked at the comments, and the top comment was, oh, is that Franco crying in the background? We've never seen him cry. So right away I was like, oh my, first of all, people se fijan en todo, right? So I remember that was a boundary that I was not willing to cross with anybody, and knowing that my friends are understanding, I just texted them like, hey, at this minute, like, could you just cut it? Oh my God, yeah, of course, I'll do it. Thank you. Yeah. And so now it's like a boundary that no one crosses, right? Like nobody's gonna put someone's baby crying. Yeah. So I think that's having boundaries is good for me. Yeah. I think another thing also is that I didn't right away switch my whole content to just baby. Like, I remember watching videos where it's like my 5-month-old update, and they'd say like for the 5-month milestones, they did this and this and this. They love this right now. This is their favorite food. This is, So I steered away from all of that, and I'm just like, I'm gonna vlog my life, and I'll show him. Yeah. But it's not gonna be just my toddler, Yeah.
And that's very healthy. Yeah. That's very healthy, because I feel like also like, when they're born, it's so typical to like share everything, like weight, height, time, everything. Yeah. And I think like, to me, I know we do it with good intentions, and because we're so happy and they're so beautiful. And obviously people want to see them because they're happy and they love us. So they want to see our babies. But I feel like, to me, it's like, I don't want to put too much out there, because imagine, I always picture this. I have a baby, but he's going to be a man one day. Exactly. His own person in his own world, applying for jobs, meeting girls online. Yes. I mean, online, meeting girls in person, like getting married. And I would just never, like, the bullying thing too. Like, I would never want someone to be like, oh, look, we have all your baby videos. Exactly. And look, here's you like eating an avocado or whatever. You know what I mean? And so that's why I said there was more pros than cons to not showing him. And I love to see, like, I follow so many moms who don't show their babies now, and I love it. Like, I love who they are as moms. Yes. And I'm like, I literally don't even care about your kid. Like, I love the fact that you're a mom, and I love your kid for you, but I just want to know about you. Yeah. Because that's healthy for me. Like, you as a mom, I can relate, we're friends, but the couple of people who have been like mean about it, like, she doesn't show her kid, like, even my supporters are like, you're being weird. Yeah, exactly. You're literally asking to see a baby, like, that's coming off a little bit weird. Like, let's think about it. But yeah, like, I feel it's been great so far, and maybe I might change my mind. Maybe. I have thought like, okay, Halloween, we'll take costume pictures, I'll upload those. Family pictures for Christmas, we'll upload those. But yeah, that's basically how it lands.
Yeah. And I think that everyone has their own choice, and I just love hearing like why they wouldn't do it. And also I just know that as he grows, he's not even gonna want to be on camera. You know how kids are, like, they're like, don't record me, mom. I'm not gonna smile for the picture, and I'm like, when he grows and he starts physically and verbally telling me, like, I don't want to be taking pictures of, I don't want you to record me. Even now, like, if he's doing something sweet and I want to record him, he stops. So I'm like, okay, that's a boundary that I'm not gonna cross. Like, okay, put my phone away. Okay, keep doing it. I want to see it still, So yeah, I think as he grows, you'll probably see less and less of him on social media, just because he literally won't let me. And yeah, I think that when he starts going to school, for sure, like, that is something that I'm like, okay, nobody's gonna know what school nothing. Nobody's gonna even know what you look like, you know? So it's scary, but I think for now, like you said, I'm going with the flow.
Yeah.
And if I change my mind,
perfect.
then
The flow is perfect. Do you think, what about the second baby? Do you think that you're gonna follow the same thing that you did with Franco?
I think maybe not as much. I do feel like I love what's on social media of Franco.
Yeah.
I just think that I am going to be a little bit more controlling over the pictures that go online. Just because I'm like, they literally changed so much in the first month.
Yeah.
And I want to have those pictures, you know, but I don't want them to grow up and be like, Mom, why is this on Instagram?
Why is everything
Why
there?
did you do this? You know? So I'm not going to say I'm not going to show the second baby, but I am going to say it might not be as much.
Yeah.
And I might have the baby and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
There they are, like all the pictures, you know?
Let's go live.
So literally, like if I change my mind, then I might. But for now, I think that's how I'm thinking. Just not as much, a little bit less, but not at all.
You know what? I feel like a lot of us keep Instagram and YouTube as like our keepsake, like our memory albums. What has helped me is I have a memory card for him, and everything. I make videos for him. We make vlogs for him, and I'm like, okay, it feels good that I still have everything.
Exactly, because you'll be able to look back on it.
Yeah.
And I love that too.
So, you know, every mom is different, and I respect and love every mom's choice.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we can sit here, like this is something that we don't do the same.
Yeah.
And we still sit here and it's like, I understand you and you understand me, and we're not gonna be like, why are you like, what are you doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's what a lot of people lack is supportive friends, because I don't think you're supportive because you agree with everything that I do or say. I think you're supportive because you understand, and you just tell me like, I love that you think that way, or great for you, you know?
Well, and then who would I be to be like, you know, this is what happens with kids' pictures. You know, to me, it's like, you love Franco so much that I know everything you're doing is the best of intentions to make him feel loved and to make sure that he's a happy baby. And we see him, he's a happy baby. He's so happy, he's so loved, he's so taken care of. If I saw that you were doing something that it was like truly harming him, and I figure like, okay, I could help in this way, I would. But I don't think I've ever seen, especially here, anything that I'm like, oh, this is alarming. This needs to be talked about. No, like all of our friends show their babies on social media, and I'm like, I love to see their pictures.
Exactly.
I love to see it, and it's so fun. And I'm sure, like, I send you guys pictures.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
When I get a picture of SJ, I'm like, thank you so much. He is so cute.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's just good that at least we have the choice to make, and we're not here to judge anybody. You know, like to each their own. And it just feels very like I'm honored to know SJ the way that I do.
Thank you.
And I love that.
Yeah. And typically when we do see people in person, everyone's super respectful. And I love that, because I have a friend who told me that her baby gets recognized in public, and then people ask pictures with the baby. And then people want to hold the baby, and you know, we go back to that topic of, would you kill for your baby? You know what I mean? And so I like that, because they don't see him in person in the videos a lot. When they do meet him, they're like, can we see? And I'm like, like when we're out in public and we run into people, I'm like, oh, this is my baby, and they're like, oh my god, he's so cute, or whatever, and they'll be like, can we take a picture? And I'm like, yeah. So I give SJ to Denny and we take a picture. So I like that boundary exists.
Exactly.
You know,
and because a lot of people don't know how to follow it, and I understand babies are cute, you want to hold
super
them,
cute.
but I did have an encounter at the mall once where they saw me with Franco, and they're like, can I take a picture with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. He wasn't looking, whatever. And then she's like, can I hold him? And I was like, oh no, sorry. You know, and for a second there, my people pleaser in me, I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be so mad like that. Why did you do that? And then this next second, I'm like, what? Like, why would I let a stranger hold my baby? You know, I'm so happy that they came to say hi to me, and I love them and whatever. But it's like, when it comes to Franco, you know, like,
it's your baby.
It is. And I wouldn't just let anybody hold him. You know? So I mean, I'm glad that the boundaries are there, you know? But I think you're always there to reinforce them as well.
I mean, I'm not shy when it comes to my baby. No. You know, like, especially like, Dios guarde la hora. Like, I don't even want it to get tested.
Literally. Because I will fight these days. But I really want to thank you for being here and for showing us a little bit of the way you think, because as I said, I always take your advice and I always, what would Stacey do? You know? So having this on my podcast is very honoring. And I know that everybody listening to this took one thing home. And that's what we always say about Spill the Beans. We say, if we could help one person, then that makes us happy. And I hope that at least one person came out of this podcast and feels happy or reassured or, you know, a little bit fulfilled too.
Yeah, so. I hope so too. I feel like I don't feel like I share a lot of my parenting beliefs because I'm afraid of people not understanding. Right. But I feel like with this comes raw acceptance of myself. Yeah. You know, like if for some reason people are like, oh, you know, I'm not showing your baby's dumb or whatever, it's like, it's who I am and it's the period of my life that I'm in. So I thank you guys for giving me the platform and the comfort, you know, to feel comfortable to share it, because I don't know that I found the right way or words on my social media, which is why I haven't talked about it. Right. Like why I don't show him, or, you know, how it's going with motherhood. So thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And if you guys loved listening to her, because I know that you did, because I do, all of her social media links will be in the description box. Go give her a follow. Go catch up with her. And with all that being said, that is it for this week's podcast. Thank you so much for being here again. We're so happy to have you guys here at our house. Yay. At Spill the Beans headquarters. But yes, thank you so much, and we will hopefully see you very soon. Yay. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Yay Networks.